You know, I'm sitting here editing a few videos while I got some downtime, and it occurred to me, I wanted to ask this question. I'm going to assume that everyone, regardless of your situation, whether you're an owner-operator that owns your own truck, whether you're on a lease purchase program or whatever, maybe you're leasing your truck from some third-party company. But anyway, if you're not operating under your own authority and you're working with a company that has its own company trucks, you do realize that you're not getting the best loads they have offered to you, and they're not offering you the best rate. They're giving you basically the garbage they don't want to put on their company trucks. It doesn't matter what the load is, whether it's a dry van load or a reefer load or a flatbed load. If you're working with a company that owns and operates its own trucks, they hire their own drivers, pay them by the mile, and they're going to keep those employees busy and those company-owned assets busy. And in order to make it, to maximize their profitability, they're going to take the highest paying loads on those. So, you have to know this, right? You already know this. I actually overheard someone having a conversation with another gentleman at a shipper a couple of days back. And the old timer was trying to tell this young guy, I don't care what they're paying you, you're not getting the most money because they're keeping those loads to themselves and they're operating them on their trucks, running them on their trucks. So I call me naive. I had always just been under the impression that if you were in this industry, you already knew that. It's kind of like my wife used to be in the vacation rental business in the Smoky Mountains, and she didn't own her own cabins, but her and another lady, they managed cabins for individuals who owned them, and they would manage the properties, maintain the properties, market the properties, all this kind of stuff. And the companies that they're competing against, that those companies owned their own cabins and their own condos and chalets. They're going to book those first because that's where their profitability lies. And my wife and her partner, they didn't own their own cabins, and they weren't competing against themselves, so to speak. So, I just naturally assumed that people in this industry were already aware of that, but apparently I was wrong. So let me tell you here and now, if you are working with a company and they have their own trucks and their own drivers, they might lease your truck on with them to run their loads, but you're not getting the best paying loads that they're getting. They're keeping those for themselves and putting those on company-owned trucks to maximize their bottom line. The revenue that you generate for that company, that's just gravy for them. That's getting in loads they might either had to broker it out and get a smaller piece of the pie, or may not have even been able to cover at all. So this goes back to knowing your numbers. This goes back to negotiating your best rates. But, just food for thought, something to consider, because, like I've said before, I want everyone to always go into every situation with both eyes open and have as much information at your fingertips as you can possibly have. So just keep that in the back of your mind. You guys be safe, and I'll see you down the road. I got to get back to these videos. See you, bye.